Discovery call, baby. How many of us are going to have a discovery call today? Raise your hand. Well, I actually can't see you, but I imagine that you're probably having one. And here's what I want you to understand. That discovery call is a great opportunity to have a business conversation. And if you're not doing it that way, come on. This episode is going to be exactly what you should be listening to. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. On this episode, I have Paul Butterfield, and Paul is going to be talking about discovery calls. This is something that every last sales professional, we're going to execute at one point or another in our sales career. But the challenge that we find when it comes to the discovery call is that most people use the discovery call use a demo as a crutch for the discovery call. And I get it. Some of you buyers want to get a demo. There's ways that you can go about doing this. And Paul tactfully outlined a strategy that you can apply to help you, whether you're a BDR, you're an AE, or you're the sales leader. If this is your first time listening to one of our episodes, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll notify you every single time we have a new piece of content. Additionally, what I want you to do as well is, if this is your first time listening to our podcast, please go ahead and tell another team member about it if you found value in it. As we dive into the conversation today, Paul's going to go ahead and share a little bit more about his background, but that naturally flies right into how this conversation lines up when it comes to a disco. If you find benefit in all of this, I need you to apply it, because when you apply it, that's when the results come. That's how this game works. So magic will happen. Let's dive in and get a chance to know Paul a little bit more. Paul, welcome to the show, man. I'm excited to have you.
Thanks. I've been looking forward to this. Appreciate the invitation.
Of course, man. And, I feel like we're a kindred spirit, especially on the content today. We're going to be talking a lot about it's this idea of discovery and how to effectively utilize the discovery. And I'm excited to get your insights. I bragged about you a little bit in a teaser there, an intro. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do on a day-to-day basis, about your business and all that fun stuff?
Sure. All right. I founded the Revenue Flywheel Group to do one main thing, and that is to help companies, B2B companies primarily, understand how to create what I call customer journey enablement. And there's a lot that goes into that, but how are you enabling and setting up all the go-to-market teams in your org that interact with customers to have give a unified experience, which does not happen very often, transition from sales to PS to, customer success, et cetera. And also how you use that as a competitive differentiator. So that's what we do, because when you get all those seemingly small things aligned between marketing and SDR, and like as I mentioned, through the other orgs, you will create a flywheel effect and your customers will see the difference. So
I love it. And I think this topic today finds itself right in that avenue when it comes to discovery calls. You and I were talking about that right beforehand, how the landscape right now has been skewed. And oftentimes the way people jump into it, they come with, like you said, the 20 questions, and they have to go through that. Or it's like, I need to, I'm just going to have the demo do the work for me, and I'm just going to show you a demo. Yep. You have strong feelings on this. I know you do, Paul. Talk to me about that before we go into the tactics. But
hey, this could get not safe feelings for work, but I'll try.
Oh crap! Here we go.
So to me, it's relatively simple.
Yeah,
you have a limited amount of time with a prospect, and you work your butt off to get that appointment, or your SDR did. Either way, it wasn't easy. So now you've got 30 minutes. Maybe if you're really lucky, you've got 60 minutes with them. What is the purpose of that time? And too many organizations think that the purpose of that is to show them a pitch deck. And a pitch deck usually equates to a bunch of brag slides. Oh, look at our uptime. Look at how many customers we have. Look at these cool logos. My favorite, and I can never figure out why companies think that you care about this as a potential customer. We just closed our Series B funding for this much money. Well, yay you, but so what, right? But they lead with that. Anyway, so the other challenge is very often when SDRs set the appointment, they're committing people to a demo. So you've got an AE that's walking in with little to no knowledge of why this prospect raised their hand or took an outbound, responded to an outbound, whatever it was. You don't know. And so you're going to come in and you're going to show them some PowerPoints, and then you're going to open up your product and show them a demo. And if you're lucky, their eyes will light up on a couple things you show them, and then you can hang your deal on that. That is far too typical. In my experience, and I'm talking field experience, this is not theory. I've seen this happen multiple companies where I've done this. Come in ready to have a business conversation. Develop the business acumen to understand your customer's world. You will not know that you're a 28-year-old AE. No matter how good you are, you're not going to really know as much as a 51-year-old fill in the blank, right? C-level VP that you're dealing with. But what you can do is study and understand their world. You're not going to know their job, but you have the advantage of talking to many people that do what they do. You bring that, but it takes work to develop that acumen. So come ready to have a business level conversation, understand that ICP. Hopefully your company supports you with some good assets for that. If not, right? Nobody's coming to rescue you. Go out and research your ideal customer, but come ready to have that conversation and spend the time having that. You're not talking about product, much less features. You are understanding what is their current state, what's the root cause of that current state, and where do they need to get to. It's that whole gap analysis. It's what you're doing, right? But at the end of it, you need to have allowed your prospect to create in their own mind, even the early stages of a vision of how they can achieve that future state they've shared with you with some service or product that you happen to sell. And here's the good news. If it's not an alignment, bad news early is good news, and you're doing you and the prospect a favor, because not everybody is a fit for what you sell. So that's one of the side benefits of doing really great discovery like that. So it's a better customer experience. You're helping them start to see for themselves, but you're also eliminating deals that don't ever have a shot. Because if they won't share a business challenge with you, if they won't go into talking about what that gap is that they're dealing with, you probably don't have a sale. Most of the time you don't.
Yeah, those are the deals that end up going in a pipeline, end up like you forecast out and never goes anywhere, and it's just just clog things up.
My experience, you are column B, column C, from the beginning, and you just never had a shot. Yeah,
exactly. So the disco, how can a great a discovery call help with this now?
Well, if you think about the things that I just, talk about that you want to achieve in that, and you're coming prepared, there's a couple things going on there. In addition to understanding whether or not you actually have an opportunity to build a business case so is this something that you should convert? Say it's something that your SDR brought you, right? Think of the rock fights that break out between SDRs and AEs over, right? It's that hook a brother up syndrome at the end of every quarter. Hey, I just need two more. I'll get you two good ones next quarter. I swear, just convert these, right? But if you consistently you're having business conversations and those are being documented in Salesforce, it becomes much clearer which things should go into your funnel, which should stay out. So that's another really good benefit. But think about from a prospect's perspective, you now have a great follow-up email to send because you've talked about business challenges. Even if it was the best discovery meeting they have all year, guarantee pretty quickly after they hung up with you, they had 3 other fires get lit.
Yep.
And they're not going to remember. So now you can take what you learned. Think about the great follow-up email you can send. Here's what I heard from you. Here's your current state. Here's the underlying root causes. Here are the business challenges that you're having. You can tie that up in a neat bow for them. And that does 2 things. First, it reminds them why they had a great experience and why they should keep talking to you. Secondly, it allows them, when you go ask for access to other people, right? So if you and I worked in the same company, you're my boss, and I come to you and I say, hey, Donald, I just talked to this, sales rep from, ABC company, and their service is going to really be a game changer for us. But you say, well, why would I want to meet with them? And I can actually say, hey, actually, let me forward this to you because the seller has given me a great synopsis of the business case that we started to outline. So you're loading that champion, if you will, with the right tools to likely go be able to get you other meetings. Because if you think about it, it's a big deal to ask someone that's only had 1 or 2 meetings with you to go introduce you to their peer, much less their boss. So you want to give them confidence that you're a different kind of seller. And that kind of discovery goes a long way towards doing it, because again, it's not what they're used to.
Yeah, and I will go back to this idea that's not what they used to, because there's, I think, for so many of us, we are prone to, I guess most companies run the same exact plays, right? This company, we're going to do, like you described at the very beginning there, with the SDR asking the 20 questions, or maybe going into the simple fact that the SDR is just, the AE is jumping into this meeting. And when you said that, I remember there's a company that I did a demo with, and it was literally like that, like straight up. The AE, the BDR got just the basic info, and I was waiting to have that business conversation, but then it came into this, like, the AE got on a call, and he was just running through the motions and going to give a quick demo, and yeah, there was like nothing there. Like,
it's
but
painful. I don't know how many thousands of
was.
calls I've reviewed over the years as a sales leader or as a coach, and yeah,
it falls definitely into that. So it is like, I think the buyers are willing to have that business convo if they feel that you're adequate to their level. Not that I need you to be another, C-level at my level, but just like you said, the business acumen. I'm thinking from my perspective, let's put myself in a BDR position or an AE position. Let's start off with the BDR. Let's just have, how do I prep for that to help that's what's coming next? How do I help to do that?
Well, it shouldn't be on you as a BDR to figure that out, because most organizations, you've been put into sequences, outreach or similar tools. And you're at an organizational level, that's really how they should be thinking about this. But if you're a BDR listening and you want to do this and you have the ability to do this for yourself, you still need this business acumen. Imagine this kind of BDR conversation. I'm calling in, talking with Susan, and Susan, I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of, VPs of marketing in my day-to-day. And there are 2 or 3 things that seem to be challenging everybody in the current economic environment. A, B, C. Which one of those is top of mind with you right now? Something, and I'm spitballing there. But imagine that sort of, so now I have, so this BDR must know a little bit of something, right? They right, and I share that with you. Then I'm in a better position, assuming my AE's been equipped to have that kind of discovery, to say, I would love to set a time with you to meet with Donald, my AE, because he will want to go, into some more detail about that with you, understand what you're trying to accomplish, blah, 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 blah. And you see where I'm going with it, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
But BDRs can really elevate their game. I think you have to be careful. In fact, in my experience, you do. I believe that it's good to give a BDR maybe more than they'll actually use on the phone, because in my experience, most people perform better if they have more information to work, that they're working within. So I think it's helpful to give them all that background, but at the same time, we don't want BDRs to start doing AE level discovery. That needs to be something the AE is able to do to build that credibility and relationship for themselves, because they've got to go ask for the signature at some point. But anyway, that's how I view a better BDR conversation.
So BDR's preparing, not necessarily doing that work, but you're preparing. So it's not like saying, hey, Paul, when we get, you're going to talk to Mary and Mary's going to give you a demo. It's preparing for that business convo for the next step. And the leaders need to be a critical part of this.
Yes.
Let's think about it from the I'm running the disco now as an AE. Is there a framework that you've seen? Because you're a big believer on the idea that the disco should paint the picture more so than the demo. Talk to me on that one.
It should paint the picture of how they're going to achieve their future state.
Gotcha.
They don't care if we think we can help them with their problem. They really don't. They don't know us, and we're a salesperson. Remember Leo's movie, Inception? It's kind of like that, right? A skilled salesperson will ask questions and uncover information. Again, current state. What are the root causes of that current state? what is the future state you're trying to get to? And in the process of doing that, the prospect will start to create in their own mind, that inception starts to happen, right? They'll start to see for themselves that maybe this is something that can actually, and depending if they're inbound or outbound, if they're outbound, they may not even realize that there's a way to fix this problem. And so that's why you need to be prepared to have a conversation and probe. Toyota, a couple of decades ago now, but Toyota went through this huge quality control transformation they did. And one of the things they developed as part of that, they discovered that if you ask why 5 times, you can get to the root of just about any problem or challenge. Now, I don't recommend hitting prospects up with why. You sound like a 2-year-old. But the concept still applies. You may need to dig a little bit. You may need to make sure you're not just asking open-ended questions, but don't accept closed-ended answers. Encourage open-ended answers. Be curious. A lot of sellers think that it's about relationships and that if my buyer likes me, they'll buy. No, it's not true. Your buyer already has friends. They don't need another friend. Sometimes you will make friends with a buyer. I've had that happen, but I can't even guess how many opportunities I've closed or lost in my sales career. I can probably count on one hand the number of people that I would consider friends. But what they do want to see, are you, number one, authentic? Nobody has time for anything less. Number two, are you a serious individual? Are you worth investing some time with? And then at the end of the conversation, have you shown them a path to achieve something that they haven't been able to already do? If they could have fixed the problem on their own, reasonably they would have. And so do they now see a path forward? If you meet those 3 criteria, whether they like you or not, they're going to want to talk to you.
I'm going
don't
even
be
more
an idiot. Don't be a jerk, right? But don't worry about if you went to the same school or you like the same team or you. Yeah.
And nobody can care about that. It's like you're saying, it's got to be deeper, right? And so with this framework, what if I have a buyer? Let's back up. I have a buyer. Okay. And he is all about this demo. He's been prone, Donald, I just want to see your solution. Show me your solution and I can make a decision from that standpoint. How would I go about handling that?
With finesse.
Let's go.
Because as a salesperson, you don't want to be a waiter. You go to a restaurant and what do waiters do? You ask them for stuff, they bring it. And too many sellers do that. So here's what often happens, right? Buyer shows up, hey, I want a demo, and here's what we're looking for, A through F, these things. What do sellers do? Wow, okay, yeah, we do all those. In fact, we do C better than anybody. Let me show you Gartner's metric, right? Blah, blah, blah. And they just jump in. They don't understand. They don't back it up and understand what are the underlying business causes behind the things on that list. And so they tend to just accept them and then move into the demo. And what do you have at the end of that? Oh, okay, I have a demo. Where do you go as a seller now when they ghost you? You're reduced to the, hey, sup, hey, just checking in, or the cringeworthy, did you get eaten by a rhinoceros or some stupid thing?
Dumb.
Because if you think about it, you have the product knowledge of what your product and service offers. They have the problem knowledge. And what typical sellers do is they transfer all that product knowledge over to the buyer, which gives them product knowledge and problem knowledge. It leaves the seller with nothing.
Yeah.
But the way I'm talking about doing it, you are keeping the product knowledge, talking to them about their problems, and you're doing the opposite transfer. You now understand your product, you understand their problems, and you're in a much better position to then go and start to help them continue to evaluate.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. And it's not overly complicated.
It's not, but I wish I could say I was perfect at it as a salesperson, or even in my early days as my first few sales leader roles. No, it's been learned over face plants and lost deals over the years.
And I think that's the critical side too, right? Somebody might be listening to this and might thinking, man, well, I'm just trying to figure out how to not sound like a buffoon on a first call. Like it will take practice. No one's perfect. Like everyone is improving, and it's like what I did track back in the days, and I still have some wheels on me, but not too. It kind of slowed down a little bit. But one of the things though was like, can I shave off like a fraction of a second? Like at this point, and it's not like when you get past the basics level, it's not like you're going to shave off like 2-3 seconds at this point. You probably got to a high level now. How can I shave off fractional pieces? But it's the continual improvement that is important. And I feel the same way with this. When you paint that picture, and as you were talking about this, and I'm thinking about like somebody with a business problem, I'm envisioning this person like seeing that future state of that outcome of what they're trying to accomplish. And you come as this industry authority leader to help me. And one of the pieces that I had, I had, it was a huge mindset hiccup for me, Paul. I'm being straight with you. Was I remember when I was in my AE position, AE role, and being very young, and I'm talking to these executive, I felt inferior to them, and I'm being straight with that. But what I did see though was, especially when I did medical stuff, you're never smarter than a doctor. Don't ever try to do that.
Oh man, no.
But
I can't imagine. Yeah.
But when it came to like, dealing with executives, and I brought this inferior complex, it made me perform less. But what I did see was that the executives wanted to learn from me because they didn't know enough about my industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's okay. Salespeople phone ringing is a total fine thing. This is not an orchestra. So that means money's coming.
Rookie mistake. You needed that.
No, you're good. But the point though is like, it felt like what they wanted to learn from me because they had a gap in their knowledge in an industry that I knew more about. And that was helpful for them. And I think if you can position that way, and not that you're a know-it-all, but I do know enough about this particular challenge relative to our solution, here's the insight that I have. And, I'm trying to help you to get there. Like, bro, I'm going to connect with you all day, every day, because I want to learn from you. You know what I mean?
Assuming they're a sincere buyer. Now, here's the other thing that's a trap that salespeople often fall into. Inbound, especially.
Oh, boy.
How many times, I've never been an SDR, but I've sat outside of SDR. I started selling pre-SDR. I think my first SDR was a D&B account, if I remember, a login. But at least I wasn't selling out of a book. I'm not that old. But anyway, so how often do you hear things like this in a SDR bullpen? Dude, I just got off the phone. They're going to make a decision in 2 weeks, and they want to see a demo and get some pricing sent over by the end of the day today. Bluebirds, pennies from heaven, right? Everybody's dancing around. And the reality is those don't convert very often. And the simple fact is they're evaluating you because they got to go get 2 more proposals before they can go sign with the one they want to sign with. Not always, but it's a very common trap. And so that's why that's my qualifier to what you said. I agree with you that they will have those conversations with you. If they won't, then I would seriously question or talk with your manager if you're not sure, is that an opportunity worth pursuing? Because if they're really evaluating you, they will want to have a business conversation. They're not going to jam you into the demo and a proposal within the next 48 hours.
I love it. This is really good. I know we're coming up on a time here. If there's one major takeaway from our conversation today you want sales leaders to leave with after listening to this episode, or an individual contributor can take back to mom and dad, the sales leader, what's that one major piece of advice?
It's the opportunity to differentiate through the sales experience and the quality of that buyer experience. That opportunity is huge. The bar is very, very low in the way that outbound, even inbound prospecting, qualifying, and discovery is being done. And you will set yourself up for a better conversion rates and better negotiating if you come in strong with a higher quality discovery process. Cannot overestimate that.
This is straight value, Paul. This is good stuff. Paul, if people out there listening to this want to get connected to you or learn about your organization, how this can help them, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. There's a book that right at the top of my LinkedIn profile. There's a link to book some time with me. You want to talk about some of this stuff, hit me up there.
Awesome. We'll put a link down in the show notes so folks can get access to this and get access to you. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show.
Thank you.
That was Paul Butterfield. If you haven't done so already, go connect with my homie on LinkedIn. You can find all the details there. I'm telling you, this was really good. I really like the idea of just this business acumen. When I first heard that word, I was graduating from college, and in the business world, they were talking about business acumen. I'm like, what is business acumen? But it's obviously your knowledge, your understanding of business, and it's something that I find that sales leaders, business leaders, I should say, and executives appreciate when you can come with that. And the way Paul outlined in this idea of the disco was fantastic. Please go ahead and drop Paul a message on LinkedIn. Tell him you heard him on here on the Sales Evangelist Podcast. Also, let me know what you like about this episode. You can find me at Donald C. Kelly. Now, speaking about LinkedIn, we have our LinkedIn prospecting course, and I know many of you are exploring LinkedIn and figuring out how you can build pipe. Go ahead and check out what we're offering. Go to thesalesevangelist.com/LinkedIn. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/LinkedIn, and take advantage of it, because we'll break down and give you everything that you need to do so you can thrive and you can succeed. As always, I want you to be successful. I want you to 3 to 5x your sales pipeline with quality opportunities. I want you to double your close rate. If you can triple it, fantastic. I want you to make more money. Most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking. Go out, do big things, and make some money in the process. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.